Hello and welcome to the NJP podcast, the podcast for streamers, by streamers. And on this week's show, we have
some news about Valorant, the new game that is taking Twitch by storm and is almost breaking records. We're going to talk a little bit about the new Twitch channel page, the new Twitch mod page, some of the new updates that they're bringing us, and some updates from Discord and why some people are upset about them. Okay, so first up in news, we'll be talking about Valorant. Valorant is the new FPS PvP game that is dominating on Twitch. It's actually almost broken the Twitch record for most viewers at a single time. The only thing that's above it and most viewers at the single time is actually Riot's other game, League of Legends. Yeah. It had 34 million hours watched in a single 24-hour day, and it also peaked at 1.7 million viewers, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so I have actually seen this game. I've seen a couple of streamers that I follow streaming it. It looks a little bit like Counter-Strike crossed with a little bit of Fortnite. I feel like it's quite stream friendly because it's a little bit slower than some of the shoot 'em ups that you see. Mm-hmm. So I don't know whether that equates to a better viewing experience because it's not quite as fast as Call of Duty. It's not as fast as Fortnite. It's a bit more chill. I don't know. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing or whether people want action, but obviously it's incredibly popular at the minute.
Yeah, it is incredibly popular. And I guess what I'm asking myself is what about it is so popular? I know there's kind of room for a new PvP game because the same PvP games have been at the top of the list for a really long time. So maybe that's why it's so popular. Maybe because it's beta and a lot of people aren't getting in. While there's a lot of people who are curious about it, who are watching the people who are getting into beta. But I am curious if these numbers are going to drop off after the beta or if they're going to continue. But I mean, it's just decimating everything else. When you look, it has like 1 million views, and then the next biggest is, I mean, significantly lower, like just 100,000, 200,000. So it's high up there.
It's interesting because it feels like sometimes we get these PvPs or battle royales and they are at the top and then they drop away very, very quickly. And then occasionally you get ones that go up there, like Apex, for example, last year, Apex Legends. That was a battle royale game. So it took Twitch by storm, and it's still held a reasonable place ever since. But I just have a hard time figuring out what it is between the games that are staying up there and which aren't up there. But I feel like with Valorant, it looks really chill. It's not too fast, and I think it's a lot easier for people to keep up with. And I feel like that is the draw for it. So maybe it is around to stay, but only time will tell.
Yeah, even looking at it right now, it has 783,000 viewers. The next biggest is Just Chatting, which has been on the rise because Fortnite was kind of like, the big one. That was the one at the top of the list. And then it was overtaken by Just Chatting. And that one only has 260,000, which is a lot. But compared to 783,000, it's pretty incredible.
Big difference.
So something to keep an eye on for sure. Next up, we will be talking about Twitch's new channel page, the mod view, ad personalization, the nudity TOS update, just all the Twitch updates. We're getting a lot of updates right now.
A lot of updates. So many updates. We can't keep track of them, Twitch. What are you doing to us?
Yeah. Well, it's cool because I feel like they're taking advantage of the fact that we're quarantined, we're at home, and like really trying to make things better. Yeah. And I'm holding out hope that discoverability is going to make it on that list. Like, obviously, with the new channel page. So one of the big things about the new channel page is that you're going to get a 60-second intro video. So if you're offline and somebody comes to your page, they can get an idea of who you are and what you're about. I mean, so long as whatever you put up there, they're going to get an idea about and maybe come back. So that's really cool. But I'm still holding out for more discoverability in other ways.
Yeah, I think that's.
But I like the new channel page.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I like it. I think that's a good point as well about the intro video, because if somebody mentions your channel in another channel and they go, "Oh, I'll go and add them," there's nothing there to really give them an idea, and they could click on a VOD, and they just click somewhere random in the VOD to see what it's like, and it could just be you really concentrating on a part of the game, or it could be a part where you were interacting more with viewers, which they wouldn't be able to make sense of. So I think an intro video is a really good idea. Interesting what you brought up about the new TOS rules with regards to dress and dress code.
Yeah.
So you could give us a brief outline on the basics of what's changed and what hasn't changed and what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah. So I think as far as what's changed, like I don't remember the exact I guess verbiage of the last set of rules, but I think the big thing about this update is that Twitch is trying to get a little more specific on situational things. So like, for example, if someone walks by your camera while you're doing real life streaming and maybe doesn't have appropriate dress on, it's okay. But if they're nude, then that's not okay.
Yeah.
And they kind of tell you how to handle it too, like immediately take down the video and take precautions to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I think this update was all about getting clear. They wanted to be a little bit more clear because they've been kind of wishy-washy in the past. I think it's really good. I still think it's a little bit wishy-washy in some ways, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because, for example, and of course, as an artist, I have to bring it up. So artistic nudity isn't allowed, but you can stream body painting as long as like your nipples are covered, and you can stream sex toys in the context of education, which is fine. I'm not saying those things shouldn't be streamed, but the reason they say that you can't stream artistic nudity is because they have no way of filtering right now to prevent people from seeing that more adult content.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't apply to the other situation. So it still feels kind of like a little wishy-washy, right? Because someone could happen to stumble upon a sex toy channel, and maybe that's not the content that's appropriate for them.
Exactly.
So yeah, that part kind of confused me. But other than that, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, so there's been a few people in the stream this week talking about it, and they are confused. They haven't grasped any of it, really. We have to be covered, like, from the bottom of our torso to the very top of the back of our legs. Like, that whole area has to be covered, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are doing so I found out this week from a friend who's a female streamer who does body training and bikini fitness.
Mm-hmm.
She's allowed to pose in a bikini.
Yeah.
But normally, if she's just on stream just normally, you wouldn't be able to wear like bikini bottoms on stream, like, and be seen.
Yeah.
Which is like, well, hang on a minute. When do you get to the point where, because part of what they do is posing, right? For the competitions and stuff. So if she decides to get up and pose, then when does it become not okay? Like, I don't have it's not a problem I have, but again, it's just really unclear. Like, with regards to the actual rules and what's okay. Obviously, if you were doing like a swimming stream, that's okay as well. Which is fine, but like it just feels like something needs to be clear, and nothing is clear right now.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I actually didn't know that about the swimsuits. I know they mentioned that it's okay, like, to wear swimsuits, but then immediately change into more appropriate clothes if you have the opportunity. Yeah, but I guess that's kind of subjective too.
Yeah, so she actually emailed Twitch to ask the question because she didn't want to get suspended from her stream. And that's how she would do it. It's not something she's going to be doing all the time anyway. Mm-hmm. But, you know, around the time she competes and stuff, she will be, because it's something that they have to practice. And obviously there's other bodybuilders and stuff in the forum who give them tips and stuff like that, because that's what it's all about. That's how the judges see you in that sort of scenario. So she sent an email to be clear, and they said it's fine. And didn't really talk about the jurisdiction of that either. They just said, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people seem quite confused. I mean, I think with the breast thing, it was like no underboob.
Yeah, I think so.
A nipples covered, no underboob, but unlimited cleavage.
Yeah. And my understanding is you can breastfeed as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess that's something they've got to. Yeah, I guess
Now.
that's something they've got to be incredibly careful of. Because if you say you can't breastfeed, then they're going to have some sort of mutiny from a certain section of streamers on their hands.
Yeah. Yeah, which I don't know. I guess I'm of the opinion that Twitch is and it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm of the opinion that Twitch is kind of like a job, and I think that while breastfeeding is perfectly okay and a natural thing, you know, you wouldn't whip it out in a meeting maybe with your boss.
You wouldn't, would you?
So,
I mean most
I wouldn't.
no. But then you wouldn't have
So-
but then in that job you probably wouldn't have an infant with you if
Yeah.
a meeting, a job that necessitated a formal meeting, you probably wouldn't have a boss. You probably wouldn't have a child.
Yeah.
With you. But I guess the way I look at it is, I mean, I don't have to worry about any of that. I'm not doing body painting yet, and I'm no e-boy, so yet.
You could always try. Sell your bathwater.
But yeah, I think if anyone feels confused about it, if there's anything you're not sure of or doesn't feel right or you're not sure if it's right, just email Twitch probably, because they did get back. They got back to my friend pretty quickly, so just email if you're not sure, and then you've got that back, and you can stream with confidence.
Yeah, I think that's the best to do. I'm glad that they're making, you know, efforts to clarify this more. But talking about it, it looks like there's still more that needs to be done there. But the fact that they're making an effort, I think, is good.
Yeah.
So, something that I actually saw this in a YouTube video, and I can't find any news articles on it, but supposedly we're going to get some form of ad personalization. And I don't know if it's on, I think it's on the streamer's end, but I'm not 100% sure, where you can select what kind of ads you're able to show.
Oh, right.
Which I think is really fascinating. And I can't find a lot of information on this other than that YouTube video I found. But it looked legit. It is from a legit YouTuber. So I'm pretty keen to believe it.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be really, really cool. I personally don't run a lot of ads just because I don't like ads as a viewer. Like when I go to YouTube and I watch a video and there's 9 different ads, I'm frustrated. So I don't run a lot of ads. But, you know, for people who do, it's really cool because you'll be able to personalize them a little bit more. So something that maybe some people will be excited about. There's also a little bit more Twitch news before we move on. So I also heard that there was an error in some payouts for the month of February. And so if you had an error in your payout for the month of February, then you should be getting compensation to make up for that soon. So they should be adding it to this month. Right. And I couldn't find a news article about that, but it was in the same YouTube video. And again, pretty reputable YouTuber. So something to think about.
So I guess on ad personalization, I guess at the minute it's the algorithms must work that it's pretty much done on the games you play. And your demographics, who's watching you, etc. I mean, that's all that they can go on. So I guess nobody knows the viewers better than the streamer, right? So I guess it would be a good thing. But then I don't know if you make. I don't exactly know how the revenue works. Like, I'm not 100%. I know that I get a set amount. It's not a lot. But then most of them are subs anyway. But I don't know if you have somebody click, whether that equates to more money or what. So, and if it does, then maybe that's going to be a better thing. But I only really show them. Obviously, if somebody's not a sub, they have to watch one or every so often.
Yeah.
But I only show them if I take a quick break, and I wouldn't be there anyway.
Yeah, which I think is a good practice to do, and I'd like to do more of that because I know I don't do it. I just don't know how much it helps, but I guess that's something to experiment around with. Yeah, you know, because if it adds to any monetary gain where you can upgrade your stream, then it's beneficial for everyone who's there. Yeah,
so Cool.
And then I think the only other thing I had for Twitch was the mod view, which if you haven't checked out the mod view, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And I know you could check it out for your own page, supposedly. You can see when people made their account. So the thing is, you can see when people made their account and kind of see their history, like if they've been banned, if they've been timed out, stuff like that. So your mods have more ability to keep an eye on
Yeah.
each user and see if someone's been a problematic user
Yeah.
over a period of time.
Yeah.
And it's a nicer view. It keeps everything kind of like contained and easier. You can delete single messages. You can see what other mods have done. Like you have a list of other mods' actions. You can see what other mods are in chat. And it's a newer feature, so I haven't messed around with it a whole lot. I mod, I think, 2 or 3 other channels when I get the time. But so far, I really like it, and I think it's really cool. And my mods seem to like it as well.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad they introduced this. It's a really neat update that we didn't know we needed, but
yeah, exactly. There seems to be a lot of really helpful tools, from like singling out and being able to quickly look at the chats of 1 or 2 viewers, so you can see if the mods can check if they've missed anything, or some really handy stuff. At the click of a button, it's going to help out quite a lot.
You can add mod comments. I just noticed this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Cool. I didn't know that either. I'm looking at an image of it right now, of kind of like the view that you get that pops up that shows like how many messages they've sent, how many times they've had, how many bans they've had.
Yeah.
And you can put mod comments, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing, because I know that I've had to ban people from the channel or suspend people from the channel for doing something. Now it might be that I ban them for something that would seem really trivial. Yeah, it might be something that they'd done many, many, many times, and that was the reason.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, over time, you might have forgotten. So if there's a comment, if you've got a mod comment on one of the viewers, if they've been causing you trouble, then you can take that into account, and it gives it some context, and people can see certainly. That if they weren't in the stream, they can see that going forward, or see that they were timed out and why. So that's quite handy.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go to Discord next. Everyone's kind of just updating. That seems to be the theme right now, is everyone's doing updates, which Discord does do a lot of updates regardless, but
yes,
there's just a lot happening. So Discord has introduced a new noise suppression, which we tested out before stream. Crisp. So I'll let you give your thoughts on that, because you were the one hearing my crisped voice.
Yeah, it sounded awful with it, to be honest. But I mean, it might be for the benefit of, I think, obviously with everything that's going on, a lot of people are using Zoom and Skype and stuff to call friends and family. They're perhaps not used to it, and they probably don't have fantastic audio equipment. They're probably using the speaker on their phone or the speaker on their webcam, which will be trash, So, so it might be that because you've got a decent microphone, that it actually sound worse, and it's probably for use with cheap, phone or webcam. It probably helps with that. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to test it out, but I imagine it would work better with that stuff, because I imagine that's what 95% of the people who are going to be using the voice chat or video call on Discord will probably be using. So, because nobody's that bothered when they're just ringing up their mum or their grandma to see if they're all right. Like, if it's like perfectly crisp or not in our case.
Yeah. Yeah, I have heard kind of mixed reviews. Some people are like, it's really good. It gets rid of that background keyboard clacking, and other people are like, it sounds awful. Yeah. So I am curious, and viewers, if you want to give your opinions on it, definitely put your opinions down below. I am kind of curious about how it sounds on different speaking devices, because now that you've mentioned that is a good point. Maybe it depends on what kind of microphone you're using.
Are you able to, when you switched it on, were you able to adjust anything?
No, you aren't able to adjust anything. I think it's like an AI kind of.
Yeah, you see, that's going to be your biggest problem, because I can't. Yeah. I mean, how good can AI be at hearing? Like, obviously, certain pitches and frequencies, but you can't. They don't work universally, because obviously pitches and frequencies in different voices sound different to different people. So yeah, I feel like that's going to be maybe if in the future they're going to allow us to mess around with it a bit more. Then maybe might be a bit like we do in OBS.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. I would look forward to an update like that, because a lot of people use Discord when streaming and having friends' voices come into their stream. So I do think that Discord trying to up the voice quality would be really good for streamers in particular. So I'm curious where this goes. It is in beta, so maybe it'll get better by the time it's out.
Yeah.
We also have some bot updates. So I don't have like a news article on this. I've just been kind of reading around in Reddit, and a lot of people, of course, look at the update notes. And supposedly Discord is bringing bot verification.
Right.
And if you don't verify your bot, it can't be on more than 100 servers. So you have a 100 server limit.
Oh, okay.
So the thing is, while that's really cool, my understanding is that Discord will have to use like ID verification to verify your bot. And obviously some people aren't happy about that, right? Like people don't want to provide their
people don't
their
like
ID.
Yeah. People don't like giving up their details, which I kind of understand. But then at the same time, you also don't want you don't want to be in the position where on your Discord or on your stream, you get invaded by bots. So it's like, you can't have it both ways. That's the way it is, unfortunately. But the thing is, I feel like, yes, I understand people don't like giving data over, but if you've got nothing to hide, I don't really see the problem.
Yeah,
it's only my it's only my personal point of view, but I've never really had much of an issue with it.
For me, I feel like I do feel a little bit weird about like taking a photo of, like driver's license and sending that off to like Discord. That does feel a little discomforting for me, and maybe it's because I kind of keep an eye on the general trend in privacy. And that's like our privacy bubble's getting smaller and smaller. Like pretty much everything is tracked now, and it's pretty uncomfortable. So the fact that they're moving towards this, it just feels like every little thing is an inch towards less and less privacy and kind of pushing that boundary. So it's like I feel like it's good in some ways, but then of course I feel pretty uncomfortable with it. In other ways. Like I do think it's good to have the bot verification system. I think that's really awesome. But if it were me, I would feel a little bit weird about sending like my driver's license. And even like Blizzard kind of has the same thing where like you have to send your driver's license if you want to unlock your account if it's been locked. And it's a little weird to think about doing that.
And it is understandable, but at the same time, it's the only way to really truly verify somebody. Otherwise, it's really difficult. So
that's fair.
So what do you?
I guess
What do you listeners think about handing over your personal information to give you more security?
Yeah, I'm curious to hear about that too, because I think there's a lot of differing opinions.
Yeah,
on that.
Definitely.
Speaking of security, our next topic is Tracer.
Nice segue, Nick.
Yeah, I was like, that's perfect. So for those of you who don't know, Tracer is a website that is able to tell you what users are in a server. And also, if you look up a user, you're able to see what servers they're in. So it works both ways. You can look up by user or you can look up by server. And obviously people have problems with this and have had problems with this. So Tracer used to be called Discool. And people were really upset about that. And Discool, I think, did get taken down. I don't know if Twitch like put out a lawsuit or something. Like Twitch did get them to take it down, but now it's back up as Tracer. And people are pretty upset because Discord hasn't seemed to do anything about it yet. So I've noticed on Reddit that people are pretty upset about this, and understandably so, I think.
Yeah. So Nick told me about this because I wasn't familiar just before we started the podcast, and I had a little look on there, and on the first page, you're given a list of what I assume is popular servers for people to snoop in, and I'll click on one now called Fap Buddies. So straight away, I'm guessing that this is some sort of serial sofa masturbators Discord. I'm not gonna try and get it up and. For want of a better expression, and I'm not going to try and get it up and see what's actually posted on there, because I think you can imagine there's an interesting in a way of phallic like emojis for a start, but It's
They
got a list.
creative.
It's got a list of every bot that's used in there, all the emojis, and then a total of 16,411 members, which you could search through as well. So you could search through the members of this Discord server. Now, I said to Nick before, the only way that I guess this could happen is if they've snuck somebody into that, or they've snuck one of their bots or people into that Discord server. Like, that's the only way. I don't see any other way of them doing it without them being shut down very quickly. So I would say that you need to make sure you're keeping up with all the new members that are coming into the chat, and keep up with all the new members that are coming into chat and the members that are currently in there. Who's legit, who's not been active for a while. Just check them out, just check over.
Yeah, and then with the voice channel thing, so you can check out how many people are in a voice channel. And if you click it, you can get an invite to the Discord. But let me see if I can find one okay, here we go. Server invite failed. So it looks like if you turn instant invite off, so it says server does not have instant invite enabled in widget. So I can't get a server invite to there. So maybe check out that setting just so that people can't, click around and see how many users are in voice and then come and voice troll you.
Right. Yes. So what you're saying, Nick, is if I turn the instant invite off in the voice channel settings, they won't be able to come and join it automatically.
Yeah, you should be good with that. Because
cool.
I could see how someone could see, like, there's a lot of people on voice in a particular server and then come in and, troll. I will say there is a request removal. I just noticed this down at the bottom. I don't know if they actually do remove you or how that works, but they do have one.
I don't want to drop into Fat Buddy's voice chat because well, actually, I kind of do in a weird way, and then definitely get out as quickly as I can. But I'm not going to. But be careful. Be careful which Discord servers you're in if you don't want to leave yourself open and embarrassed.
Yeah. If you're in some Discord servers you don't want your boss to know, maybe use different accounts. Because if your boss knows about Tracer, then they know your kinks, and that might be a little uncomfortable.
Or you could search for your boss and then hold him to ransom. That's a joke. That's a joke, by the way.
You're like, that's a joke, and I'm like,
that. Don't do that. That's not a good way to live your life. Take it from somebody who has never done that, but perhaps thinks it's a bad idea.
Yeah, it is. Listen to Joe. He's the voice of reason.
Don't listen to me ever. Okay.
Let's see. What else do we have? One more Discord news story. So there's some things with video. I'm not entirely sure why, but people are very, very upset about the fact it has like your little portrait and then like a square around it. And people are very upset about that on Reddit. And
it's changed. Right.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why, to be honest. It doesn't really bother me. But that's something that people are upset about. So I'm thinking that Discord may end up changing that, but that's a new feature that they added. And on the same line of video, they are making it so that you can do group video in a Discord. So before you had to do it via like private chats, you can now do it. Like, for example, I have my like party one voice chat where people can, like, if they're playing games, they can voice chat in there. You can now do a group video there.
Right.
So I don't know if it's up yet, but it's coming if it's not up yet. But that's really cool because before you had to take it out into like private messages and people couldn't really drop in and out very easily, I don't think. So a lot of people are excited about that.
Yeah, and again, I think that they're jumping on the Zoom Skype thing that everybody's doing right now because families are getting together over that. So yeah, why not extend it past because Discord's primarily used, I think, it must be for streamers. I know it's used for other stuff, but
yeah,
obviously if they can get it out to everybody, then that's the dream for them, right?
Yeah, and they are trying to. They're changing a few things that are noticeably trying to make Discord, like even little verbiage things, like the little lines and phrases they use. They're clearly trying to take advantage of the quarantine and expand their user base, which could be good or bad, right? It's bad in that I'm hoping they still continue on with like making gamers and streamers a top priority because this is a great app for us.
Yeah.
But it's good because the more people who support it, hopefully they can do more with it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm curious, guys. What comment down below. What is the issue with the squares? Why is it a problem? The rectangles. I want to know. I really do. Tell me.
Well, you've put us in circles, Nick. So obviously there is a problem with squares.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, people are really upset about it. And I don't know. I'll probably be like in the middle of the night tonight. I'll be like scrolling Reddit, like, why is this a problem? I'm not saying it's not a problem. I genuinely don't know. I don't use this feature a lot in Discord. So I don't know how it used to be. And I don't know what the problem is, but I'm curious. Let us know. I really am curious.
Let us know in the comments below.
Yes, please. I need to know. So our next news story, Google Stadia is offering 2 months free of prorate now. And Joe, do you want to explain Google Stadia? You're more familiar with it.
Google Stadia is basically a cloud gaming service. So basically what that means is that you don't need to have sufficient hardware to play all the top games. So you basically can log in from like a cheap laptop or just a standard trashy PC, and all the hardware and the game itself is on a server in the cloud, basically. So all you need to do is have your keyboard and mouse, controller, however you want to use, whatever apparatus you want to use to play, and you stream the game. Now there's quite a few of these around. Most, like, there's PS Now, and there's a few other ones around. From what I know in the research I've done, is the main problem is issues with latency. So having a bit of a delay between your inputs and the results. And this obviously is bigger problems in different games. Like, first-person shooters are incredibly fast-paced, and you have to be incredibly accurate. Not ideal for those yet, from what I understand. But maybe in something more gentle, or maybe in like a role-playing game where it's not as important, and maybe you are on a work trip and you just have the work laptop, you could download Google Stadia and just play a chilled game maybe. But I think, why not give it a go if they're giving out 2 months for free?
Definitely. I plan to give it a try. I don't need to. My graphics card is really good. I have a good computer. But I'm curious about it. I want to give it a go. And then if it's good, it's only $10 a month afterwards. So if you try it for 2 months and you like it, pretty affordable.
Yeah, so,
and they have all the big games.
Yeah, they have a lot of the big games. They don't have all the games. I think it will end up with them split a bit. Like, they'll have certain game producers on board with different ones for sure. So it could be that you end up having to subscribe to a few, but still, if it is the future and you're still only paying a total between the services of $40-50 a month, it's probably less than you're going to be paying for than you pay for games already. So I don't know whether it is the future. I guess everything's only going to get faster until the latency's at a point where it's unnoticeable to the human eye, or our feelings anyway. So yeah, there's something strange about it because we're not used to that. I think it feels like, well, hang on. Yeah. I want to feel like that game's mine. People don't like having digital. People don't like having digital copies of games, let alone, never owning the game at all.
Yeah, I find that interesting. So I like having digital copies because I'm going to lose my disc. Let's be honest. It's going to get scratched. I'm going to lose it. That shit is not safe in my house. So I like having digital copies, but I like owning the digital copies, not really renting them. Yeah, then if I cancel the service, I don't have it. But it says on the Google Stadia page, get free games with Stadia Pro. You can claim free games with Stadia Pro. Games are available to claim the moment you subscribe. Every month you get more free games. I'm curious if you get to keep them. It also says you can get even more games by purchasing them through the store. So
correct, yes.
It sounds like you get access to some games, but then other games you have to purchase. I'm curious. I really want to log in. Looking at their homepage, it looks like they do have some big games. Like, they have Destiny, they have Borderlands 3, Assassin's Creed, I think that's Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2. But I don't know their library. I haven't actually logged in. Yeah. But that's something that I think maybe we'll play around with and get back to you guys. I feel like that'd be cool. we should give it a shot
Yeah,
and get back to you.
I think we do 2 weeks and then come back.
Yeah.
Podcast after next and give our honest opinions about it. I think that's a good idea. Nick.
Yeah, and you guys too. Give it a try.
Yeah, give
and
it
give
a
us your
go.
honest opinions.
What you
we'll
got to
all give it
lose?
a try.
What you got to lose?
Group Stadia try.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll check it out.
Certainly. All right, let's see what else. So I only have a few more things, and then I have kind of a surprise thing that I didn't put on here, but I feel like would be really cool.
You've got a surprise for me.
I do actually.
Should I be
it's kind
afraid?
of a surprise for everyone. I'll just, now I've teased it. I'll just slide it in real quick just because. All right. So I've been browsing Amazon a lot in the middle of the night and purchasing stuff because that's what we do when we're in quarantine. I bought a new microphone. So, and it won't get here for another it won't get here until the 26th. So for like another week, 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. But I use the Samson G-Track Pro because I went on YouTube before purchasing my microphone and compared the Blue Yeti to the Samson G-Track. And I liked the sound of this one a lot better.
Yeah.
And I love my microphone. But the HyperX microphone the reviews are insane on Amazon. They're good.
Yeah, they're really good.
So I want to try it.
Yeah,
I want to try it. I
not?
want to compare it to the microphone that I have right now.
Yeah,
And-
what are you using now, Nick?
It's the Samson G-Track Pro.
Are you using it? Yeah.
This thing's so here's the thing. This thing is a beast. This thing is like 5 pounds by itself.
Yeah.
So even though like the audio is good, it has like a little output back here so that I can listen to myself with no lag. It's a great microphone. I recommend it. I love it. But it being 5 pounds, it is really hard to find a mount. And the mount that I would use for it is out of stock right now. So I was like, let's try the HyperX then, because it's only, I think, 1.5 pounds.
Right.
It comes with a shock mount, and the reviews, like I said, are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be really cool. And if you're open to it, I think it'd be really fun if we test them out. You can let me know how it sounds. I can let you know how it feels to use it. And we should do a YouTube review. And let us know, guys, do you want to see a YouTube review of the HyperX microphone? And I can compare it with my microphone. I can't compare it with the Blue Yeti because I don't have one. But
yeah. Well, I've had a Blue Yeti, and I've had one. I had one before.
Yeah.
And now I have the Rode NT USB.
Yeah.
So I have
nice.
footage. I have footage that we can bring in from when I used the Blue Yeti as well.
Yeah, maybe we should do like a full-on microphone comparison video.
Maybe we will.
Because it sounds like between the two of us, we've got 4 different microphones.
Yeah, popular ones as well. Yeah.
Yeah, very popular ones. So that's my little exciting news is I ordered, man, the reviews on Amazon, it has like 1,000 something reviews and almost 5 stars. Like it's
Yeah, the reviews are really, really good. I did note that. Yeah, definitely.
So pretty excited to share that with everyone.
Awesome.
Because I'm sure some of you are curious about how it sounds. So PlayStation controller, the design, which has been released and has actually fan art about it already. People are already turning it into cute little characters, which is really, really fun.
The thing about I saw a thing actually on, I don't know whether it was Sony's Twitter or somebody's Twitter, and it was like evolution of the PlayStation controller. Let me tell you, there is very little evolutionary about that controller. It's the same freaking controller as it was 25 years ago. There is very, very little change. Very little change. I know that there'll be a lot of Sony fanboys out there that are like, well, no, this has changed, that's changed. Yes, of course there are some changes. But Sony aren't exactly ones for innovation when it comes to controllers, and never have been.
Yeah.
But to me, it just looks like it's a bit thicker and it's wearing a tank top.
I like the tank top. Next time I look at it, that's literally what I'm going to think. But it's interesting that you don't think it's changed a lot, because for me, I feel like it has, because I don't like PlayStation controllers. Maybe unpopular opinion. I still use the Xbox 360. I use the wired because I like it better.
Yeah.
Because the USBs just freaking break over. The mini USBs are just crap. I'm sorry. They're just utter trash.
Yeah.
But I still use this, and because it's more, I don't know. For me, the PlayStation controllers, like I have small hands, but it just felt, I don't know. Like I liked that they bulked it up. But the funny thing is, when I look at the new PlayStation controller, it feels like it kind of looks like this to me. It looks more like this than the old PlayStation controller.
I feel like it's gearing more towards Xbox. The Xbox got it very wrong. Microsoft got it very wrong with their original controller for the original Xbox. It was so big. But then they've done pretty well ever since. And if I was to, even though I have a PlayStation 4, I still think that the Xbox One has a much better, superior controller.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me because it's like the new PlayStation controller looks really Xbox-ish.
Yeah.
Which I like because I prefer the Xbox controllers, but it is a little bit funny to me. I'm like, that just looks like a 360 controller.
I want to know if anybody out there listening has any opinions on the Xbox and PS4 controllers and which is better. Because it's a really interesting thing, because from my point of view, a lot of you people out there are arguing about PlayStation versus Xbox. And let's be honest, bar a few exclusives, which probably make up 5% of the range on each side, they are basically the same. The hardware inside is a little different, but basically the same. And I see, like, there's people running tests and they'll be like, oh, this game's got 2 FPS more, 2 frames per second more on the Xbox. And I'm like, nobody can tell that 2 frames difference.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to hear about people who really disagree with what I say there and say, no, this is why. Tell me why. You tell me why.
Yeah. You know, PC Master Race over here.
Well, of course.
I'm a PC gamer. I love my console in a hot minute, other than the Switch, which I absolutely love. So I am curious too. I'm curious, you guys, what would make you go out and buy one of these consoles? Because honestly, they're pretty expensive. They are really nice.
Yeah.
But why one of those over, for example, just having a really nice PC? I'm curious about. It feels like consoles are just kind of not standard anymore.
It's interesting because Christmas just before last, I built a PC for a friend's son for Christmas. Now he already had a monitor, like he was running his PS4 off a monitor, which a lot of people do. So he wasn't old, so he didn't want to spend. His dad didn't want to spend loads of money, but he wanted it to be decent and play some games. And I built him a PC for. It was more than what an Xbox One would have cost or a PS4, but we're talking about 150 quid more maybe. And he could run all his games on the PC on medium to high settings. Now for me, I would be like, well, why wouldn't you do that? And then the games are cheaper also. For me,
those Steam sales are pretty nice.
Yeah, and they're cheaper in the first place because you're not paying Microsoft or Sony for the rights.
Yeah,
you don't
have
have
more storage space.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think they can get a couple terabytes on the PlayStation.
No,
or on the Xbox.
No. So I don't know. And then you've only got to upgrade it once you've got it. You don't have to. You don't have to necessarily keep lumping out. I mean, you can get a really expensive PC, of course. But if you upgrade regularly and keep with mid range, you can normally get good prices, and you're not going to have to spend a lot of money at one time again. The only problem is you are missing some of the exclusives, but I mean, then you've got to pick between which exclusives you want, PS4 or Xbox. But I want to know what you guys think about PC Master Race and Xbox.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Because if I got extra couple $100 instead of buying one of those consoles, I'm gonna be honest, I'd upgrade my PC. But yeah, I know there are some people, like for example, my fiance is playing Final Fantasy, the remake. He wouldn't be able to do that on PC, but it is coming to PC just later. And I've noticed that is a trend. Yeah, like Neo 2 is coming to PC as well, but in November, whereas it's on console right now.
Right.
So the more people release things, even though you can get them sooner.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, you wait a few months, but then you get to play it on your PC.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Are you gonna buy one of the new consoles? Which one are you gonna buy?
I mean, the thing is, for me, I'm not like a fanboy. I normally get one, just so I've got one in the living room.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a fanboy of either. I had a PlayStation 2. Then I had then the next generation, I got a 360, not a PS3, because I felt at the time the Xbox Live was far superior to Sony's online infrastructure. And that's probably because it was Microsoft.
Yeah.
But then this time, Sony won the war a long time ago with the PS4 at the beginning, because even the Switch is outsold or very close to outselling the Xbox One. And I don't really know why, because in my eyes, it looks like, if you look at the specs and stuff, yeah, it's not that much difference. It looks like the Xbox is a superior console, but then big exclusives do make a difference, though. Don't get me wrong. Like The Last of Us 2, which we spoke about last week, being pushed back. That is going to be the biggest game of the year. So if that's on you want that on your console, obviously. And if you were a big fan of that game, you'd probably lump for Sony, wouldn't you, and go for the PlayStation? But people arguing over which is better, like, I don't know, it's up to you, surely.
I agree with you. I think the differences will be minuscule. So pick whichever one has the exclusives that you like. But personally, I don't see myself purchasing one. I see myself upgrading my computer at some point. Final Fantasy and Resident Evil.
Yes.
So I looked at the reviews. Final Fantasy is killing it. Resident Evil's pretty mixed.
Yeah, so
pretty mixed.
I'm glad you brought these up, actually, because I've been playing these this week, and
perfect. They
are two of my favorite franchises from my preteen teen days. So obviously Final Fantasy VII, role-playing game with a complete new spin on it. This game means a lot to me. It's probably my second favorite RPG of all time. So I was a bit apprehensive about kicking it up and getting it started. First thing to note is it takes 100 gigabytes. It says on the box it needs 100 gigabytes of space to run. So if you tie it on space, you might need to clear a bit up. But without giving anything away, obviously, I feel like it looks amazing and it surpassed my expectations. Completely new battle system is really comfortable. The story is varied slightly. Now it changes it. Some people aren't happy about that. Don't get me wrong, the story it's not a complete overhaul. But because this is being released in parts, which we don't know how many yet, they've added a lot more story to it and changed little bits to fit that in. But I personally quite like that, because you've still got the main game, story, but you're getting extra content that you didn't know about in this new capacity, and it feels, honestly, not quite as good as playing the original when I did at 12 years old, or 11 or whatever it was, 11 or 12. I think it was 11, maybe 12. But it feels great to play.
Yeah.
Up to this point.
And some of that's probably nostalgia too, right?
Absolutely.
Like that. But the cool thing is, like, they take some characters who before didn't really have a backstory, and they're going in depth with them. So you see the characters in a new light, which is really cool. They did keep some of the old, they kept the old materia system, which apparently was something that a lot of people loved.
Yes.
And they've kind of kept in with the same vein of that. Plus, you can see your materia in the sword, which is really pretty cool.
Yeah, you can actually see the materia in the weapon, which is cool. But so they had the materia in Final Fantasy VII, and then in the original Final Fantasy VII, and then in the original and then in Final Fantasy VIII, they took it away for this draw system. Now I prefer Final Fantasy VIII, but that was the worst thing about Final Fantasy VIII, was changing the system. So yeah, the materia is very much a welcome return. You level up the materia like you did in the original, and you can use it with your weapon, and you can actually see it this time. You can actually see it in there in the slot. So if you played it before, I would go for it. If you were a bit worried, I wouldn't be worried, unless you really want to pick every little thing apart, if you're one of those people. But in my opinion, fantastic. I give it 5 out of 5 without a doubt so far, but I've only probably played about a third of the way through, I think. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so it does look incredible, but I have the original PlayStation model, PS4 model, and it does sound like the PlayStation is going to take off frequently. Like, the fan is at max constantly. It is really pushing the PS4 to its limit, like to its absolute limit. but it does look amazing. But just be wary if you've got that original PS4 like me and not the PS4 Pro, you might notice, depending on how close you are to the console, it can get a bit noisy. Not a problem when you're playing it so much, but in between you'll hear it, and
yeah,
it's something I picked up on and did annoy me a bit. But I mean, it's not the game's fault. It's just it's pushing it to the limit.
When we turned on the PlayStation and ran the new Final Fantasy VII game, we heard this sound and it almost kind of sounded like a jet engine. It was a really loud sound, and we weren't sure if it was coming from outside or something, or if they were doing construction. And Snack Daddy got up and listened and was like, "It's the PlayStation." So it really does push it to its limit. It's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit loud. You can tell this game is just really maxing it out. But we haven't had any issues with it other than that. Like, it's a little bit loud, but we aren't having any like lag issues. The loading screens are kind of long. So Resident Evil 3. So the reviews for that one are pretty mixed from what I've understood. So when you look it up, let me look it up again. I think it was like 60% was kind of the average, or like 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Was kind of what I was seeing overall. So like GameSpot, 6 out of 10, Steam, 7 out of 10, Metacritic, 80%. When you look at Google users, it's 92%. Although interestingly enough, when you look at Google user reviews, I feel like they're always like really high, no matter what they're rating.
I feel like it's one of the easiest ways to scam a review, like review score. Yeah,
definitely.
Because it's always seems to be different.
Yeah, it's always like higher. And then under audience rating summary, it says 3.9 stars. So it's kind of all over the place. Some people seem to like it a lot, and some people it's like okay. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, so last year I was I was nervous about the Resident Evil 2 remake last year. Spent the weekend with my friend completing it, as we did back in 1998 or 99. And it was a really good remake. It didn't knock the socks off me, but it was good. I was happy with the remake. And then they said they were going to make 3. Now, Resident Evil 3 for me was one that I only played through once. And I thought it was okay, but probably by that time we'd already had 2 Resident Evils, and this was very similar. So I don't know whether it's much shorter as well than the first 2. And I think that they've added another like survivor mode to sort of compensate for that. But I feel like there's a lot less scope for the story, even in a remake, and that's why it's probably short. Maybe not quite what I was expecting. I don't really know what I was expecting, but maybe a little bit more. I can see myself being slightly disappointed with this as it is so far. But I did get it for free with my new graphics card, so I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry about it. But you know, how far do they do remakes to? Because if they keep bringing out a remake every year, they'll be up to one that they brought out like just a couple of years ago, and then it's like the later ones aren't that bad. Like, how far we've come in terms of graphics and aesthetics in 10 years is nothing like it was in the previous 10 years before that. Like, we've slowed down a lot. We've concentrated on higher resolutions and stuff, but the actual graphics and sprites and stuff weren't that bad 10 years ago compared to 10 years before that. So I'm like, well, how long are they going to keep doing this for? Why can't they just make a decent new game? Because it just feels lazy to me.
Yeah. Well, it's like we're not in Raccoon City anymore. We're in Remake City. And I feel like remakes are like the thing right now. So everyone's remaking everything. I mean, Disney movies are being remade. Games are being remade. And it's kind of rough because it's like you want something new, you want something fresh. And it's like, yeah, there's that nostalgia, and having some games remade feels really nice and is really awesome. But not everything needs to be remade. I think, at least me personally, I'm ready for something new. You know, stop remaking the classics. Some of them, A, don't need to be messed with. And B, at a certain point, it's just kind of overkill. So yeah, I do feel like that's a big trend right now, is remakes for like everything. Yeah. Which is it's getting old for me personally. So yeah, that's kind of my feelings on it. I will say that it did seem like Resident Evil 3 was short, because even though I didn't play it myself, my friend played it. She actually streamed it, and I think that's it for the news.
That's the news covered.
Yeah. It's all the big things that I saw, all the new and exciting stuff revolving around streaming.
So today, Nick, we're going to be talking about starting out as a streamer and all the questions that surround streaming. We're going to go up for a bit of an FAQ session, aren't we?
Yeah. This is going to be, it's interesting because it's going to be in depth, that we're going to cover a lot of topics that you need to know as a streamer starting out, but we won't cover each topic as in depth as it could be. Those will be in future episodes. So this is kind of setting us up for a series to help you guys get to streaming.
Yeah.
To the maximum level that you can.
Maximum.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Partner by Friday.
Yeah. Partner by Friday. So, what is that? 3 days? 2 days partner. 2 days partner.
Yeah.
Let's go.
2 day partner. Clickbait.
Do it.
How I became a partner in 2 days. Clickbait. That's what we should. That's what the thumbnail should be.
Yeah. So we're kind of talking a little bit about everything. We're going to talk about the gear. We're going to talk about some of the planning that goes behind it, the branding, the money, the graphics that you need. Just we're kind of touching on everything today. So I think it'll be I'm particularly excited for this episode and this podcast and what we're going to cover today, because I think a lot of people will really benefit from this information and are probably looking for it right now, because a lot of people are getting into streaming that weren't before because of the whole quarantine.
Because they're at home and quarantine. I wish I'd had this episode to listen to a year ago when I started. Put it that way.
Yeah. This is that episode that we wish we had.
Yeah.
This is the information that we've gathered that we wish just we had and didn't have to trial and error.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about is what kind of stuff you need to plan, what game you should stream, when you should stream, how much you should stream, kind of the planning that goes into that.
Yes.
And like I said, we're going to touch a little bit more quickly on these topics and then in depth go into them, like
later
deep dive
in
later episodes. All right. So first of all, planning and branding. Let's talk about the first thing you need. Obviously, you're going to need a name. Right? That's a pretty simple one. That's a simple one to start out with.
Absolutely.
You're going to need a name. So I've written down a few things that I think a name should be. For one, it needs to be easy to spell and easy to remember. I can't tell you how many people have names where I'm like, I'm not going to remember that. And I don't know how to pronounce it even.
And you're not exactly sure how to spell it.
Yeah. And that's, when you want somebody to come back to your channel, you want them to be able to, like, for example, Joe Tendo, Nick Levels Up. Not only do you kind of have an idea about what we're doing and what our channel is about before you even come there, you can remember that and you can spell that.
Exactly.
With the exception of, like, obviously with Nick Levels Up, you might think there's a K, and I don't use one.
But
short for Nicole.
I mean, Nick levels up. Nick likes games to play where you level up. Or she likes playing games. Joe is a Nintendo nut. And that's it. So you know what you're getting just simply by the name. I've been raided by people who they're English, but I can't pronounce their username, and they're like, no, and then they spell it phonetically for me. And it's like, but that still doesn't read that even. So your name is pretty important. Maybe don't just use the handle that you've got on Twitch already.
Yeah. And then you also have to consider, you need to be able to get your name on socials and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's something, my original name was surprisingly boring, and I did change it to Nick Levels Up.
No,
One, because people felt like
what was the name though, Nick? You said it was boring, but you didn't say what it was.
Oh, it was surprisingly boring.
I'm messing with you.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he knows that one. And then I was like, wait. I was like, I can't tell.
What? The name was boring, but what was it?
But yeah, that was my name, and nobody felt like it fit me. I changed my name, and I was worried about that. Because at that point, like, I'd already hit affiliate. I already, like, had people coming in, and I'd already, like, named our crew, and stuff. And I was nervous about it, but the reception has been very, very positive toward renaming myself. And not only, did my name not fit me, but I wasn't able to get that on my other socials. It was too long, or it was taken.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important that if you can, try to get a name where you can, like, I'm Nick Levels Up on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Instagram. Yeah. Literally exact same spelling, exact same everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because it makes you easier to find. So that's something else to consider with your names. Of course, reserve your socials, reserve your Twitch, reserve your email and stuff if there's a specific email.
Yeah, I did that. I did that.
Even
I reserved Twitter, even though I wasn't really using it for a while. But I thought, well, I'll take it. Because you can guarantee that some troll will want to take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like you might not be, you don't need to really go ham on social media in the beginning, but
No.
you should reserve your names.
Absolutely. If you're gonna do anything, reserve the usernames because it won't hurt you later down the line, and it's very quick to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then some other things to think about, like, is it catchy? Is it humorous? Is it informative? And that kind of leads into my next point. Is it informative? So before you start your channel, you kind of want to plan a little bit of self-planning. So like, who are you? What are your hobbies? What do you like?
Yeah.
Why should people watch you? What are you about? And that helps to inform your name. It helps to inform your bio. It helps to inform your streamer type.
Absolutely.
Right. So like there's different types of streamers. And we'll go into this more in a later episode.
Into more depth,
like, for example, there's like the Salt Master, which we all kind of know.
Yeah, exactly.
The Salt Master, the comedian, the creative, the talker, the pro, the educator.
Yeah.
And I have a few others listed here, which we'll go into in another episode. But there's different types of streamers, and kind of knowing a little bit about you will help inform your name, help inform it just helps you figure out the direction of your channel. It gives you clarity, not just on what type of streamer you want to be, what type of content you want to provide, but also what you want to stream, what your name should be. It just all around, I feel like it's a good thing to know. And it helps you figure out what your strengths are, because I'm a firm believer that when you're streaming, some people focus so much on what they're not good at, you know, and they want to make that better. Like, oh, I'm not good at games, so I'm going to get better at gaming so I can be a Twitch streamer. I disagree with that completely. I think you should double down on your strengths. I think you should figure out what you're good at and double down on that.
Yeah.
So when planning, you kind of got to know your strengths. You got to know a little bit more about yourself, who you are as a person, what you're like. I mean, and even if it's just writing down like a tagline for your channel and coming up with that and then basing everything off that tagline, or writing like 5 descriptive words about yourself, or writing down your favorite hobbies, you know, and then kind of plan around that, I think.
On that as well, so you need to kind of really, if you are a fanatical about a certain game or a particular set of games, like I am mainly on Nintendo, and that's pretty much all I stream. Not as a rule, I do occasionally stream other stuffs, but Nick streams a variety of games. Now, obviously, that's very different to what I do. But if I'd have sort of gone in there thinking, right, well, I'm going to stream this, and then suddenly, and it's okay to change, but if you've been streaming a game for like a couple of months and you've got a few regulars, then you decide to branch out, you might find you lose all those and you're almost starting again. So if you're going to be variety, then probably start off by playing a few different games. If you are sticking to one game, then stick to that. Don't panic straight away that nobody's in and you need to change that game. You need to try out whatever you're doing for a while, I think, before you try and move on and change it. Too many changes too quickly will harm you. Get the planning right in the first place, like Nick says.
Yeah. And I do think that, there's pros and cons to variety streaming versus streaming a single game. If you are going to stream a single game, obviously stay away from like oversaturated games. That's just, if you really want to play it, you can, but that's going to be so much harder.
Difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So difficult. But if you're going to go with variety, because you are bouncing around from a lot of different games, you kind of want to focus more on you than the game you're playing, in my experience.
Yeah.
So that people don't drop in and out for one game, so that people come back for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to need to spend more time speaking to the viewers. You're going to spend more time enhancing your stream and maybe doing other sections or skits or whatever it is, because if you're a variety gamer, they're sticking around for you, whereas with what I do, hopefully eventually they'll stick around for me, and a lot of them do, but they came there the first few times because of the game I was playing. So I've spent a lot of time bettering myself at Mario Maker, but had I been variety streaming, and the games would have been more chill as well if I was variety streaming, so I'd be able to spend more time with the audience. I still try and get it in, of course, but if you're doing a variety stream and the people are coming regularly, they're coming there for you, not for a particular game, because nobody likes every game a variety streamer plays. But they're coming,
certainly.
They're coming back. They're coming back for you. So that's it. It is really, really important. It might not seem that at first, and you might just think, well, I want to stream this or I want to stream that. Yeah, you should always just stream what you are. But if you want to be variety, Take your time out. Don't worry too much about what you're playing, and consider your audience just that little bit more.
Yeah, certainly. I do think considering your audience, figuring out your streamer type, like, do you want to be more controversial? Do you want to be really positive? Do you want to be a talker? Do you want to be a comedian? Do you want to be a community builder? Focus very much on that as opposed to like being a pro at a game. Because if you're playing a variety, that's probably not where you're going to take it. You're not going to be super good at every single game you do.
Right.
So maybe focusing more on yourself. And then I have a few other things written down here about games and content, just some ideas for you guys. And again, we'll go into this more in a future episode and how to figure out what to stream and when to kind of stream it. But you can go with trendy games. You can go with the newest games, the new releases. You can go with what's on sale right now because people probably want to see it before they buy it.
Right.
You can stick with the classics. For example, Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past is still really popular. It's still high up on the list. And that's been out forever.
And what you're saying about trends as well is there's a lot of people I know, a lot of people I know who are bored and used to play Sims in their teens or early teens, and suddenly they've got a lot of time on their hands and they can't do anything. And they were like, "What did I used to do when I was younger?
Yeah.
Oh, I used to play Sims until my eyes bled." So like, there's a lot of people picking up the Sims and picking up the expansion packs and stuff. And there are not actually that many people that stream it, because I've streamed it once just for fun, but there's not that many people streaming it. So these trends, if it's something you want to play, and it always should be something you want to play.
Yeah, definitely.
They come around all the time for different reasons.
Related to kind of what you're going to stream is when you're going to stream. So the schedule, I'm a firm believer in don't overdo it. You need life balance. You need consistency. And if you're over streaming, you're not going to be consistent because your energy is going to, you only have so much.
Yeah, that's something that I've come to realize in time. Although it didn't really hurt me, I feel like I perhaps didn't need to spend quite so much time streaming. And I was doing a lot of work outside of, as Nick knows you have to do. But I was frying myself really, because to get that work done and stream the silly hours that I was difficult. Whereas probably to start out, because it is really intense if you've not done it before, and it really does take it out of you. Just try a couple of hours to begin with, and then 3, 4 hours, 5 hours is fine. That's what most people do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about doing more than that. And then if you have spare time, spend it on enhancing your stream in other ways.
Yeah, because discoverability is not great on Twitch. So if you have the time, maybe spend it on other platforms. Maybe start to work on your social media.
Yeah.
Work on like your overlays and graphics, which we'll get to, in a bit. I think the most important thing is keeping to your schedule. So I don't think, you have to stream a whole lot, especially supply and demand, right? If you're on all the time, people might be like, oh, well, I'll catch them later. But if you're only on 3 days a week, maybe people are more likely to come in those 3 days because those are only the 3 days.
Yeah,
so you don't want to understream, but you don't want to overstream either. So for me, I feel like 3 times a week, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah.
It gives me enough time to do other things, to keep my life balanced, to get some downtime, to work on my overlays and graphics and social media and stuff, to work on this podcast. I think the most important thing about schedule, is really just sticking to your times, which I'm maybe not the best at. With my ADHD, I tend to be like, I'm running 15 minutes late. Sorry, I lost track of time. But sticking to your schedule, it's like a TV show. People need to know when to tune in. So like some people are like, I start at this time, but then don't say what time they go to. I feel like it's good to say I start here and go to here. And then if you go over, it's just a bonus for people, right? It's just a fun thing they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
But like giving people a general idea of, like I say, for example, Tuesday, I'm 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And so people know to come in. And then being on time as much as you can, like really making a point to be on time, shows that you're taking your stream seriously and will help other people take your stream seriously. Because everyone wants to stick with a streamer who clearly is passionate and taking it seriously.
Now, when I started, I decided that it was a family-friendly stream that I was doing. Probably because... And families still do enjoy together, because I'm playing Mario Maker. It appeals to such a vast audience because people played it as kids, and now there's kids who love playing it. But And then after time, I decided I took away the family friendly tag. I stopped. Like I still don't curse on stream, but I can fucking curse in here. And I decided I wanted to keep it that way personally. But for me, that just fits, and that's the way it is. Now, other streams wouldn't work like that if they were suddenly family friendly. But again, it depends completely on you and what you want to do. But it's probably good to make that decision before, because once you get started and you've got content out, but it doesn't matter what you choose to do, because there's some people that don't want to watch unless they feel comfortable in the chat and they can chat how they would with their friends and swear or whatever, which is fine. But make sure you know what you want to do exactly with your channel. Because the other thing is as well is, be careful if you're not family friendly and anything goes, because if it gets to the point where anything goes, and again, I know another Mario Maker streamer, all his donations with TTS, which is text to speak, so if they do a donation over a certain amount, the computer voice will read out their message over the stream. Yeah. And it just turns into, because it's quite a lewd stream anyway, and the boundaries were never set, I don't think, it just turns into who can try and say the most disgusting and appalling thing. Which is but some days I can tell he's fed up with it some days, because it's all the time. Sometimes it's really funny. Yeah. Like, but then some days, because literally people can say what they want, they don't try to be clever at all about what they're saying or mask it. It's just there for everyone to see. Like, because your stream isn't, you wouldn't say it's family friendly, and you curse on stream, but it's not like every other word. And in the chat, and in the chat, it's not every other word either. Like, but people know they can say what they like, within TOS and your rules. So just be careful as well. If it's a no boundary zone, I would always try and set some sort of boundary before, and then if you want to loosen it, you can loosen it a little bit. Yeah. But it's difficult to go back once you've let people do exactly what they want. Yeah. So that's just something that I've noticed over the past year.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and it's important to, I think, stick with who you are. So like, if you're the kind of person who just never curses, go for that. Like, don't feel like you need to, because like, I'm the kind of person, I curse a lot in real life, but it's not every other word. And I like to have very interesting conversations. And that's kind of how my channel is. Like, it's okay to curse, but like, we don't want to turn everything into hee hee pee pee. Like, we want to have like a level of actual conversation and substance within our conversation. And that's just how I am in real life. So like, if you do curse in real life, don't feel the need to take that out, because it's so hard to pretend to be someone you're not on stream.
Exactly.
So I really recommend working with who you are. And you can alter that a little bit. But like, don't overdo it. If you cuss on stream, if you don't, because it's so hard to be someone you're not, and you want to be authentic. You want to be authentic. People can tell when you're not, and it's already energy draining to talk for so many hours and to be on stream for so many hours. You don't want to make it that much more difficult by trying to remember, like, oh, don't cuss, even though you cuss usually when you're playing games. Like, don't cuss. It's just hard, and you're gonna slip up. It's
the one thing that really gets to me when people like fake people on Twitch. I can't, it's the one thing I have trouble keeping my mouth shut about when people are and other streamers are and they say things, because I've always called people out on my stream or on their stream if I feel the right to, because that's just the way I am. And I'm always absolutely myself, but I've substituted some of the words I use. You still see the rage. I just substituted some of the words, but people know what I'm getting at. But it must be exhausting for these people, and some of them I know who've been streaming a lot longer than me, and they'll moan about growth, and I know they're moaning about growth, and they're trying to get everybody. They want their audience to be everyone. Yeah. No stream
and that's so important. You can't.
It's impossible. Nobody can get everyone. Not everybody will like you. And if you try and be that person nobody will connect with you, not properly, because they won't feel like it's real, because you were saying one thing to another person, and it goes back to what I say about Mario Maker and the streamers not telling the truth about players' levels, telling them that they're good, liking their levels, not giving them real feedback, and they don't go anywhere because people see, sometimes subconsciously people see through it, and they just think, well, this isn't real. Like, you're not telling us what you think, and people are interested to know people's opinions. That's what makes us interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us connect with other people. Doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. But it means that you can connect with people. And that's incredibly important.
So this is the tagline that I wrote down. Don't quit your day job. Starting out without risking financial security. I feel like that sums it up pretty well, actually.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, really. Don't assume it's going to take off overnight and that you can quit your job, because that's not what happens in 99.9% of cases. So don't do that.
Yeah. I feel that very hard because, like, as an artist, I have worked as an artist, and it's something I don't talk about it a lot just because I don't want to dox myself. So I don't really share a lot of my older art. But working as an artist, that's something you hear a lot, is like people will try to quit their job to become a full-time artist. But I read an article once that really was eye-opening, and I think it applies to streaming. It applies to any hobby that you want to do, Etsy, whatever. It's, you are trying to make money to support your passion and hobbies and not the other way around.
Yes.
So like if you really love streaming, if you really love art, you don't want, if you're so reliant on money, you're taking away the love and the passion and excitement from it and straining it, and it becomes a chore and it becomes difficult. You want to have enough financial security that when you stream, you love it. You don't want it to be like, oh my God, I have to stream. I have to hit this many donations. I have to, because then it's like, you know, then all of a sudden you're on stream like begging for donations or crying about how you might have to
can't pay the gas.
Yeah. So you want to be able to support that to a degree. And, you know, you might be able to cut some things out. Maybe like go part-time, cut out Netflix, cut out, you know, whatever you're ordering and stuff. And then, you know, you have more time for streaming and stuff. So there's a balance to find there.
Yeah, definitely.
But you want to keep a certain level of financial security.
Yeah.
So that when you stream, you're not putting so much pressure on something that's new, that's going to take a while to build up, and that might not work out for a little while.
Yeah.
And then, you know, talking about finances in general, how much should you spend to start up your stream? And I know some people probably want like a clear figure, but my answer there is going to be as little as humanly possible in the beginning, because some people, the reality of it, are going to really idolize streaming and really like it and really think they want to do it. And then they get into it and it's not for them.
Yeah.
So don't feel the need to go out and spend a lot of money in the beginning. You might not stick with it. You might find that you don't like it.
Exactly. You might put your webcam back in your closet next to your karate kit and your badminton racket and your cricket bat, and never play and never stream again. Which, well, looking at the figures where like only 2% of people who are streaming are affiliate, what does that tell you? I guess that like 98% of the streamers are people who do it a few times. There are so many people just or they do it for a couple of months or whatever. So so I thought about this and thinking about from when I started, like if I look back at videos from like my first few streams, like to me now it looks terrible. But I did have a brand as regards to, I had a color and I had a logo, and people liked it. They were like, "Oh, you're the Jotendo Pink," blah blah blah. The stream didn't look amazing because of like my green screen wasn't amazing, my lighting wasn't perfect, but it did the job, and probably probably people don't expect. Well, my logo and that looked cool. People liked it. And I'd spent some time on that. And that's not really something I'm brilliant at. So I had to spend quite a lot of time doing it. But like that paid off. And that's work you can do for free.
Definitely.
And probably people don't, if you've literally just started, anybody who switches on their stream and they've got a perfect looking stream and everything works like you'd expect, like a pro stream, nobody expects that. They'd be surprised. They'd probably be pleasantly surprised if you're like, oh, it's day one and your stream looks super clean. Like, how have you managed that? But it's not expected because probably those first few people all they want to do is, who come into an empty stream, they're probably looking for somebody to communicate with, because in other streams they're not going to get the time of day or get the chance to actually speak to somebody properly one-on-one like that. So probably people don't expect a really, really polished stream, but polish it as much as you can with regards to your other stuff. Overlays you can make for free. Because and maybe if I had my time again, maybe I'd have spent more time on an overlay in the beginning rather than using a green screen, because using a green screen is, one, it adds a lot more expense straight off the bat, because getting a decent green screen is expensive. You can get a cheap one, but it's never going to look as good. And then if you haven't got your lighting right, it doesn't matter anyway. And it's very difficult to learn about getting your lighting right for a green screen. So that would probably be a tip from me, is like, I wouldn't worry too much. You don't have to have a green screen. It's some games it's probably better to have one. But like, if you look at all the top streamers, like, it's sort of, I'd say it's like half and half from the top streamers, depending on the game. Like, it's not something you have to have, and it is an extra expense to begin with. And you have to have really bright lights on you, in your face. Is another thing.
If you really are like, I want to put some time into this, but I don't have a lot of money, you know what? Pick up some books on talking to people, or, on being presentable. Like, I don't know, like, maybe level up yourself before like leveling up your equipment. Because that's cheaper. And then,
record.
You can kind of gauge your dedication and how much you enjoy it.
Record videos of yourself talking, just reading anything. Read the newspaper, read a book, play it back, and see if it sounds really dull. And then it's perhaps because you're just reading it and not being yourself. And then try and practice at reading more like how you'd be talking to your friends, for example.
Speaking of like the streamer and your personality showing through, camera. A lot of people are like, do you need a camera? And I argue in this day and age, yes, I really think you do. And you can make it big without a camera. Some have, although they were some of the original streamers who kind of hopped on board before it got oversaturated. It's going to be so much harder. And if someone makes it big without a camera, they are the exception and not the rule.
Absolutely.
Most people need a camera. People want to see who they're talking to and connect with that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's a couple of people who have made it without cameras, and that's cool. Some of them, like you say, the early days before it was more widely accepted, you didn't have cameras. I just don't know why you wouldn't have a camera, to be honest. Like, I don't watch any streams that don't use a camera. I don't watch any. I've never watched any. And you look at all the top streamers, pretty much all of them have a camera. Yeah. So I think that speaks volumes. There you go.
Yeah, I think a camera is, very important. And it doesn't have to be a great camera. My original camera was a Logitech C920S.
That was my first camera as well.
Yeah. That thing is bomb. Like, if my DSLR broke right now, that's what I would go back to. It is a good camera. And you can apply some filters to make it look fire.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Once you set it up with like, Nick's watching me now through Skype on that, but it looks terrible. But once you get your filters on it in OBS, you can make it look pretty decent with good lighting and the right lighting and stuff. It's only 30 frames a second, but again, that was one thing I upgraded after a few months, and people were like, whoa, you look so different. I'm like, well, it's still the same resolution. I could do 4K, but you can't do that on Twitch anyway.
So, and along the, lines of gear, because I know we're going to do an in-depth video, because gear is its own whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think running through it real quick, lighting is super important. And your mic, it's important, but again, in the beginning, just use whatever
in the beginning,
you've got.
people aren't expecting. Yeah, people aren't expecting. Again, they're not expecting a really polished sound. And you can get decent cheaper mics. But
I think the first thing you should upgrade, like if you are looking to spend some money, lights. It can make like, you can get a DSLR, and if your lighting's not good, it's still look good.
Yeah, I've seen some people, and they were like, I'm like, what are you using? They're like DSLR, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking my Logitech 4K Brio looks
better.
looks better but it's about getting your lighting right. But again, on lighting, you can buy like an Elgato key. You can buy Elgato key lights. Don't get me wrong; these lights are really good. Like they're really good. But I don't use them. Like one day when I've got more disposable income, I'll probably use them.
Yeah.
But like I have like a big like studio kind of light. Like big light box, you like classic sort of studio light, and then 2 sort of small panel lights, LED lights, and I think they cost, so in dollars they probably cost about $32 each.
Yeah.
And I bought 2. I bought one at a time, and they're absolutely fine. Like they're similar to the key lights in how they look, but they are so much cheaper. But lighting makes a massive difference on your camera, whether you're using a green screen or not.
The last one is like software and bots.
Okay.
So for bots, you know, I feel like when you're first starting out, you aren't going to have mods, and you shouldn't worry about that.
No.
So you do want to have a bot mod your channel. And of course, Twitch has the bot that kind of comes with it under your settings, and you can certainly go with that. But if you're using something like Stream Elements or Streamlabs, they have a bot as well. I do feel like moderating your channel should be done by whatever bot you want to use that's easiest to get to, whether it's on Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Twitch, whatever.
Yeah, if you're using Streamlabs, which is what I use, I use the Cloud Stream bot, which is on Streamlabs, and haven't really had any issues with it. Yeah. And in the early days as well, there's a lot more stuff you could do, like with regards to games or collections or loads of different stuff that, especially at the start, your viewers can interact with. That might help you out if the communication thing is maybe a bit more secondary to you than the playing, which it shouldn't be, but it can just help get conversations started.
Yeah, especially in the beginning when you're still kind of learning. Yeah,
when you don't know what you're doing.
That I use like pretty much one bot for like 99.9% of my stuff, and it's Carlbot, CARL bot, Carlbot. Carlbot is dope. Yeah. So if you want to make Discord bot easy, Carlbot's the easiest I found, and he's a really cool. Yeah. He's a really cool guy. He's a turtle, and he kind of does stuff around my. But I renamed him because you can rename him, but he is Carlbot.
Yeah. Mine's I use Me6.
Yeah, a lot of people use that one as well.
But I call him Todd.
I like Todd. I was calling mine the Bork bot, as in like doggies, like bork bork. Like instead of bark, it just because I do a lot of dog stuff on my channel because of my doggos. In fact, a lot of you probably are watching this podcast and have no idea that I have a dog in my lap right now. She is asleep. She's been here the whole time. But yeah, so I had a lot of that. So he was Borkbot, but I need to change his name, and I haven't picked one yet. All right. So I think that's a basic, and we can go into bots later, but more importantly is what software are you going to use? And there's several. There's Twitch Studio, which right off the bat, I'm going to say I wouldn't recommend.
Nope. Don't touch it.
There's just not a lot you can do with it.
Not yet. There's still, it's still in very early development. Yeah. Maybe one day, but not now.
Yeah. So I feel like your big choices are Stream Elements and Streamlabs.
Yeah.
Which I've used both.
Well,
I use Stream Elements now, but I did use Streamlabs.
So I would say there's 3. Because you've got, because there's Stream Elements, Streamlabs, and then OBS.
Oh, sorry. I use OBS. I just call it Stream Elements because I got it off the Stream Elements website. Right? Is that not their platform or? No.
OBS is not Stream Elements. Is different.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
Streamlabs. So OBS existed, and then Streamlabs bought their software.
Okay.
But OBS kept it as well and went their own separate way. So you can get a Streamlabs OBS software, and it's different now to OBS software. And I think there's a Stream Elements one as well.
Yeah.
And there's a few others. Like, I'm pretty sure 90% of people use Streamlabs OBS or OBS.
Yeah.
So Streamlabs,
I know I use OBS.
yeah. So Streamlabs OBS has all the Streamlabs integrations built in, like with regards to notifications for follows, subs, and that sort of things. But you don't have to have that. You don't have to have Streamlabs OBS to do that. You can still just do it through their website, which is what I do.
Yeah.
My recommendation is use OBS because the original OBS, because it uses less resources on your computer, and in my experience, it doesn't let you down like Streamlabs OBS does.
That's actually why I switched from Streamlabs to the OG.
Yeah.
Was because it was lagging. It was giving me issues. It worked fine for like the first month or two. And then as my overlays got more intensive, it started failing pretty drastically.
Yeah.
And so Streamlabs, while I do like it, I would again recommend OBS. Now, here's the thing. Streamlabs I felt like was easier to learn. Like Streamlabs feels very easy to use.
Oh, yeah,
very easy.
Yeah.
So like if you're looking for something easy to use, maybe start with Streamlabs and then go to OBS, or maybe just spend a little extra time and learn OBS. Whatever I guess works best for you, but I would recommend OBS personally.
Yeah, I mean, the attraction might be there for Streamlabs OBS as well, because you'll look at it and it looks, the GUI, the GUI, the interface is a bit prettier.
Yeah, it's sleek. It's nice.
Yeah, it is, but it takes more resources, and that's the thing as well. If your computer might struggle just by streaming, then you want you want the most resources that your PC has possibly got. But yeah, maybe it's a bit more intuitive, like Nick says. I'd agree with that. But I did have some problems, like I couldn't use VST plugins. I don't know if they do now. You couldn't use VST plugins for a long time with them. Just little things like that, and it seemed like whereas the original OBS is still like runs off donations.
Yeah.
And Streamlabs is like a proper corporate business to make money. But don't get me wrong, using the Streamlabs website, this can be confusing because you can use the Streamlabs website still and still have all those alerts that you see for all the various different things. But then I use a separate piece of software called Streamlabels.
Gotcha.
So the Streamlabels comes up with a list of all notifications, and through that you can replay notifications and other different stuff. But you'll see these notifications come up on your Twitch dashboard anyway, like on your Twitch creator dashboard. But for me, it's OBS. If you're going to struggle and you're not that au fait with, and you're not that computer literate, then maybe Streamlabs OBS to begin with. But they are really similar because they're based on the original OBS software. But yeah, that's my thoughts on streaming software.
And then there's something I didn't write down on my little bubble chart that is actually coming up that I think is important.
How could you miss that, Nick?
No.
Whatever it is.
It's actually chat programs. I don't know. Do you use a separate chat program?
Well, I have actually written that down on my notes, but
perfect.
I forgot to look at my notes. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, I use the Streamlabs chatbot.
Yeah.
And actually you can integrate stuff through that as well. You can use the bot through that. Loads of different stuff, but even if you just use it as a basic, again, doesn't take up that much of a resource, and it's really useful. You can alter the size of the chat, so if you're sitting further away from the monitor, really makes seeing chat really simple.
That's important.
And it's
my chat's pretty big.
That and Streamlabels have been really good, and they are both Streamlabs software, but the Streamlabs OBS, in my experience, not great, but loads of people still use it.
I actually use a separate program. I use Chatty, which is kind of like when you open it up, it's not the most beautiful program. It's a pretty simple program, but it is effective, and there's a lot you can do with it. There's a lot of customization just with colors, with fonts, with sizing, with alerting you to certain words, just all sorts of stuff, highlighting specific words. it's very, very useful for me. So I tried a bunch of different chat programs, and this was my favorite.
Right.
It's actually it's not hard to set up either. So like you go to settings, and like you have chat color, message color. What else can you do? I'm kind of reading over some of the things. You can highlight specific words, highlight specific names. You can ignore specific messages. You can filter things out. You can log your chats to files, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's just play specific sounds. I mean, it's pretty comprehensive. I personally love Chatty. I tried several things out, and this was the one that did the most for me. And it is pretty easy to use, and will save your settings. So if you're looking for something like a separate chat and you kind of want to go a little bit more in depth with your chat, I'd recommend Chatty. But when you're just starting out with the basics, if you're not like computer savvy or don't want to spend a lot of time on that, then certainly stick with like the default built-in chat that you have. The reason why I spent so much time on my chat is because the easier and quicker it is for you to read, the easier it is for you to notice what's going on, the better. Because you want to focus a lot on chat and community. I don't know. Have we missed anything?
No, I think we covered everything as much as we want to cover for today.
Yeah.
But what are we going to be talking about next week? So on next week's show, we're going to be talking about planning and branding. Thanks a lot, Nick. We will be back again next Friday, as every other Friday. You can find us now on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, all your main listening formats and platforms for podcasts. And there's a few still pending, but most of them are up now.
Yeah. So, and if there's one that you want to see us on that we aren't on,
do tell us.
No, leave a comment. We'll find a way to get on there.
We'll find it.
So yeah, let us know where you listen.
And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
All right. Bye, guys.